own sleuthing to find out. You know, if I like Robert Grace, who knew that I would like now? And you used to be able to go into the store and get that answer, get an accurate answer, and maybe it's a little bit more left a chance. So I think there are going to be great new voices. I just hope they get heard.
Yeah. But I'm curious, because something Mike said, right, how you learn it. You know, I'm assuming, but already, how many people learned about tonight, for example, through my Facebook page or Michael's Facebook page? So see, I mean, that's a way that, you know, used to be, as Michael's describing, you know, it used to be like folks in a bookstore, folks in a reading club, friends you have, but now these new technologies are coming, word spreads through our Facebook pages, and then people are interconnected. So it's just, the important thing is that you are connected. That's Facebook. And you're sharing your love for reading the books.
So we're here back to that.
Robert, you wrote a story called Man Who Knew Dick Bong, in which you took Chandler's Robert Marlowe's character and made it into a story. I was wondering how difficult that was to create a story using Chandler's character.
Intimidating. And, I loved doing it. In fact, she's referring to a short story I wrote called The Man Who Knew Dick Bong. It's a period piece. The Chandler estate on the Chandler Centennial allowed a collection of short stories to be written where contemporary writers were allowed to use the Philip Marlowe character, special licensing arrangement, and I did one of them. And that story actually is one of my personal favorite things of all the things that I've written. But because of my love and respect for Chandler's work, I did find it both exhilarating and intimidating because I wanted to make sure. This sounds hokey and stupid, but through the writing of that short story, I just kept telling myself, here's your goal. Your goal is that if Ray read it, he wouldn't hate it too much.
Second afternoon.
I'd like to ask each of you, which is your favorite book so far, and why? And also, which is your least favorite of the books?
Oh, you mean my least favorite or most favorite of Michael's books?
You would have had to read a couple more.
Audiobooks. You know what? I'm first. I don't. My favorite book is always my most recent book. It's always been. I have a, just like I don't sleep and I keep weird hours. I go through a weird love-hate relationship with my books. When I'm writing them, and this goes back to the very beginning, I start out totally in love with them. By the time I finish with them, I think they're the worst thing ever written. And then around 5 or 6 months later, I start to love them again. And it always comes about that the one where I'm in that honeymoon period is my very favorite of all the books I've written. With distance, perspective, I guess is the word, with perspective, because now that, you know, the first one was in '87, and there's a lot of books out there. I like them for different reasons. Like, you know, I made Free Fall, for example, may be my favorite book because of a certain thing, because of a certain character in a certain way. But then at the same time, you know, maybe L.A. Requiem or maybe The Last Detective is a favorite because of another reason. So it isn't a clear cut. That's my favorite book. That's my least favorite book.
Yeah, I have a kind of a similar answer. You're so invested in what you're writing, and then seeing what happens with it when it comes out, how it's received. So in many ways, it's whatever I've just put out. And you know, whatever you do in life, you should get better at it. So I look at my first book probably as my least favorite because, you know, I know a lot more about how to do this than I knew then. And, you know, if I ever had a shot at rewriting it, I think I can make it a lot better. I do have, like, for reasons I'm not talking about, like, how well I rode it, or pros, or anything like that, I have, my favorite is probably The Last Coyote, just because it was the first book I wrote as a full-time writer, and I could see in that book I had made a jump, because I was not, my focus was not every day going to a newspaper, writing stories for them. It was just all about that book, and the year I wrote it was just a wonderful year of, like, feeling like I've attained this place where when I was 19 years old, I hoped I could be someday, and I was there. So the whole experience of writing that book, plus it's very, probably the most important case Harry ever investigated. So all those things still make it stand out to me as my favorite book.
We're on the same.
Both Elvis Cole and Harry Bosch live on Woodrow Wilson Drive. In showed about in the mid-1980s. How the hell did they both end up there? And Harry's A-frame got red tagged. Why didn't
Well, Elvis was obviously there first. The book was out in '87. I didn't know about that book. And it is interesting that we ended up, I mean, so Woodrow Wilson's a long road, and actually on either other opposite sides of the mountain. But mine came out of probably the same thing, the reason, they'll tell you, but you know, we both have guys who want to contemplate their place in this place. And, you know, the obvious thing is to stand on the back deck and look at the city. You know, it's in that passage that Bob read, the angry city seen over the shoulder of the mountains. That's what we wanted in our books. And I was writing the first Harry Bosch book, and I was looking for a place for him to live, and I was working at the LA Times, and I got sent to Woodrow Wilson Drive on a story. Someone had been murdered on Woodrow Wilson Drive in front of David Hockney, the famous painter's house, in I think it was 91. And because he had nothing to do with it, where this person happened to be murdered.
Thank God you said that.
But, you know, it was newspapers, and so the connection to celebrity and where there's smoke, there might be fire. I got sent there and spent a day, you know, as they were investigating the crime scene. And mostly in that area of Woodrow Wilson, you can't see anything because the house has got all the view, but there was a cantilever house. Actually, Harry doesn't have an A-frame, he's a cantilever. There was one that had burned down, and they had just basically scraped the debris off the path. So I'm walking around waiting for the cops to talk to me about this murder, and I see this flat bed, you know, on cantilever, like someone will someday just build a house. So I went under the do not cross tag and went out, and I saw this would be a great view for this guy I'm writing about. And so I picked that. And the bizarre thing is that was over 20 years ago, and no one's ever built anything on that. Cantilevers, and the wood, it was basically a wood, plywood platform that's rotted and fallen through, and the cantilever just stand up there. And I don't know the reason why, but the house was never rebuilt, and so you can go up there and find, the address is 87, it's next to the house, it's at 8743. You can see Harry Bosch's view. I got a smile, this is a tube, no house there, just standing up. That one didn't happen.
How does that?
I think,
No, I was just adjusting the microphone. Actually, what I was thinking is, I'm glad I'm not living next to that lot tonight.
yeah, David Hockney had flew away.
No, you know, I'm from the flatlands. I'm from Louisiana. Everything's flat. The horizon is as close as the nearest tree line. So when I moved here, I fell in love with the hills. And I used to go driving, and literally the first day I was in town, I had to drive Mulholland. So I drove Mulholland from Coink Pass, you know, all the way through, I guess, out till it turns into gravel. And
Was it 3 a.m.?